We're going to Steel Town now. President of Hockey Operations of the Penguins, Brian Burke, joins us today. Good afternoon, Burkie. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, Rod. How are you?
Good. Good to see you again. Looking forward to you coming to Regina for the U of R event. And you know what? A lot of viewers have questions for you, Brian, but I got a few out of the gate. I've seen you at the U of R dinner, seen you at the Estevan Bruins dinner, seen you at all these dinners. Are there as many across the country, or is this like a Saskatchewan thing? Because as you know, these are like our biggest fundraisers. Do you do them all over the place?
Yeah, pretty well. It's Saskatchewan's just so much fun to visit. The people are so great. So I try to do every one I get asked to do there. But no, I've done them from the Maritimes to Vancouver. So yeah, there are a lot of them, but it's an important part of the job. I think in the NHL, we have to give back. That's been a central theme of mine every place I've worked, every day of my life. So to me, it's important, and I'm looking forward to it. I would much prefer to come in person, maybe next year.
Oh, I know how it was all coming. We'd love to have you. We'd love when you come. Kevin BX is speaking with you this year. So there's that, and I'll get to more on that. But how's it being a Pittsburgh Penguin, by the way? You made yourself comfortable now. How is it?
Let's see. I got my warm-up jacket on.
Other side.
There's the logo.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten the hang of these video calls that you'd think I would after a year. But am I looking at the camera right now? I think I am.
You're perfect. You're
okay,
perfect.
Good. So I want to watch you while you're talking, and then I'm not looking at the camera. So I'm looking at the camera. It's wonderful. A great ownership group here, Ron Burke and Mario Lemieux. The facilities are as good as any in the league. I think the best, the arena and the practice arena. Fan base is fantastic. Successful franchise. It's a lot like Green Bay to me in the NFL. You know, like a successful franchise, solid, crazy local support, great fans, in the best sports town in America. So I look at all those things, get a chance to work with some great players too, get a chance to work with Hexie, and our CEO, David Morehouse, is widely regarded as one of the best executives in pro sports. So this all checked all the boxes for me. I was pretty well determined that I was out.
Yeah, I know. We got a lot of mutual friends, and so there are some great questions coming in. But Rich Sutter said to me on the day that you guys were hired, he's like, Hexie and Burkie going to Pittsburgh, two former Flyers. And I'd mentioned that on the air, and somebody said, Burkie was never a Flyer. Yes, he was. Can you talk about that? You signed in the 70s, Maine Mariners. Do you consider yourself if Rich Sutter considers you a Flyer, you're a Flyer.
Well, a lot of people don't understand when you're an American Hockey League player, you're under contract to an NHL team in most cases. There are AHL contracts as well. But I did not sign with the Maine Mariners. I signed with the Philadelphia Flyers. I consider myself a former Flyer, but we hate the Flyers here in Pittsburgh. So now I'm a Penguin.
Yeah, but that was Sutter's point, obviously. He's like, how about the irony of Hexie and Burkie going to Pittsburgh?
And if you go back, and I know you know this, Rod, you might not know the exact figures, but the team I played for, the Maine Mariners, we were Calder Cup champions. But the more important thing is, like, 8 or 9 of us went on to management, coaching, or scouting careers. Like the late, great Keith Allen, who's the GM who signed me, Mr. Allen, he knew how to identify character people. So Al Hill was on that team, scouted for years for the Flyers. John Paddock was on that team, as people know, NHL coach, longtime CHL coach, great guy. Both goaltenders on that team, Rick St. Croix and Pete Peters, went on to be goalie coaches in the NHL. Terry Murray was on that team, coached in the NHL forever. Like, they identified a lot of key. Dennis Patterson scouted for the Flyers for 25 years, I think. So they identified character people. And the thing I'm proudest of from that part of the Flyers organization is how many people Mr. Allen identified that went on to careers in the game. That's pretty impressive off one AHL team.
And let's not forget the great Drew Callender, who's never taken off that Maine Mariners ring, and he used to wear it across the bus from me with the Pats forever, and he's still working for the Regina Pats, and I know you guys speak often. So are you good to take some viewer questions, or do you want to say something about the captain? I call him the captain, Drew Callender.
Well, his nickname on the team was Joe, because we had a French-Canadian kid from Sudbury named Guy Delpart who could not say Drew. So he started calling him Joe. So everybody started calling him Joe. So Joe scored 40 goals on that team. He scored the only goal in the game. We beat a team from Russia, which was quite a thing. Great guy. That famous bloody picture of me you can find online. Actually, Joe did that. We were playing a game, messing around after practice in Halifax, and Drew got me right in the head with a stick, cut my eyebrow wide open. And that famous picture that goes around with me is from Drew Callender. And they went on to a great career with the Regina Police Force, and then, of course, has gone on and been a valuable addition to the Pats. So he's a great guy. Yeah, I do keep in touch with Joe.
Saved my life one night in Spokane. I might have been out of line, Berkey. I can thank Joe for that. Anyways, from Jeremy Knight, he says he's watching in Toronto from the Jays Care Foundation. He says Pittsburgh can become the first team in NHL history with an All-American coaching staff to win a Stanley Cup. After all he's done to grow hockey in the States, would this be extra special for Brian?
Well, this is really, I sat down and thought about this when Pittsburgh offered me the job. I thought I was out. And then I started checking the boxes. And when you sit around with a bunch of GMs and you talk about dream jobs, Pittsburgh's one that comes up. So I always wanted to win more than one cup. I'd like to do it here. We've got some work to do. We know that. But it is, working in Canada is special because the game is so loved up there. And every chance I got, I worked in Canada. But Pittsburgh is special too. And I'm thrilled. Like I'm still pinching myself. I texted someone right before I came on saying, I feel like a kid who just got let in the candy store again.
No, I know, but Brian, I watched you every day on Sportsnet and heard Drew's stories, talked to Sutter. Let's just say it. They said Berkey was out because he was only going to work for the team where he wanted to go to work for the boss every day. It's Mario. Have I read that wrong? That's what's got you so excited about this.
It's all of them. Ron Burkle's the other owner who's terrific. Mario, we've got some limited partners. I just met a couple of them yesterday on a Zoom call. They're fantastic. So you go, okay, what do you need to succeed as a hockey executive? You need good ownership. Check. You need a CEO who gets it. David Morehouse. Check. You need the facilities to win. Check. You need some good players to build around. Check. You need an avid, rabid sports base. Season ticket holder. We've sold out hundreds of games here consecutively. Check. So to me, I really can't imagine. I did get one other opportunity 2 years ago, and I said no. So this checked all the boxes. But yeah, Mario, is it cool? You work for Mario and work with Mario? Yeah, it's pretty cool. He looks like he could still play.
Of course he does. Of course he does. But it just, when you went there, it wasn't a shock to me. I'm like, oh, yeah, after everything that I've heard, I know what you've been through with other teams, why you wouldn't want to go back to it, but now you got the dream thing. Nelson, and thanks for the answer, by the way. Nelson in Vegas, or he's a Golden Knights fan. He writes that, he says, is the plan to enter rebuild mode for the Pens or to squeeze a few more seasons out of the core talent you have?
Well, Jimmy Rutherford won 2 cups here in the last 5 years. I mean, since 1967, we're tied with the Edmonton Oilers for the most cups since 1967, 5. So, to me, they're used to a certain standard here in Pittsburgh, and we've got star players. Jimmy won 2 cups, as I mentioned. Now the team's a little older, and we've not squandered, that's a really unfair word. We've spent a lot of assets to be this competitive and get to where we were. So right now we don't have a lot of picks. We've got to rebuild the prospect base and the picks, but we're still going to try to add if we can at the deadline. If we can move some things around, we're going to see how far this group can get. Because the one underestimated thing that we're starting to see is the goaltending. The goaltending's been terrific since we got here. Like, not just good. Tristan Jarry's been excellent. And Casey DeSmith has played only a few games, but he's played well. So we're going to see what we can get out of this group and if we can add to this group at the deadline. And then we'll deal with the future afterwards.
I would be crucified if I didn't ask you this while I have you on. I've been on a couple New York shows in the last week, and they've brought up Sidney Crosby's trade availability. You just mentioned restocking picks. You could do that in a trade. Is there any chance that Sidney doesn't finish his career in Pittsburgh?
Not a chance, not unless he doesn't want to. Not a chance. Like, I haven't talked to Hexie about it because we would never talk about that. In other words, I'm astounded at the question. I haven't even said to Hexie, should we talk about moving Sid? It would be unthinkable. So no, unless that would only change if the player changed his mind. But no, I've had 5 Hall of Famers in my career. I've been blessed that way. I had Mark Messier, I had Pavel Bure. You keep going on the list. I had 5. And I never had a player as good as Sidney Crosby. And that includes, I had Chris Pronger. I had Scott Niedermayer. So I get to 5. That's just 4. Messier, Bure, Niedermayer. Oh, Teemu Solani. So I've had 5. I've never had a player as good as Sidney Crosby. So I'm in awe of this guy. And my personal interactions with him over the years, ever since we lost the lottery, every time I saw Sid before I got here, I'd go like this. I'd say, "This close, Sid. You're this close to being a Duck.
Yeah, well, that's what I say about Matthews. This close to being an Arizona Coyote, you may be saving hockey in the desert if the Coyotes had got the number 1 pick for Austin Matthews. I could talk hockey with you all day, Burke, but there are a few broadcasting questions here, and sorry for asking you about Sid. I'm just saying it came up, so I wanted to go to the source while I have you. You understand. What did you like about the Sportsnet job?
Well, I liked the people I worked for, and I liked the people I work with. And if you can say that about your job, you've probably got a pretty good job. So the bosses that hired me and directed me and told me what I could do and couldn't do, asked me to work games, gave me my schedule. All the people that managed me from above were people I respected and liked. And I loved the crew that was working the games and in studio with me. So it was a dream job, and I really enjoyed it. I just had agreed to an extension to stay. Like, I was planning on staying. But like I said, I just couldn't turn this down. So, from my perspective, it was great. I enjoyed it. I worked very hard at it to get better at it, and I think I did. But they were fantastic. They were great about letting me leave. They could have said no. They could have said, "No, you're under contract." And they didn't. So it was wonderful working there, and had a very friendly parting. You saw the last show on Hockey Night. It's a nice tribute, and people did a nice job. But I was just texting with a couple of the guys this morning, just saying how I missed the group.
Yeah, well, you won't be replaced. You won't. But you did a lot in 4 years, that's for sure. Hey, somebody was asking about Calgary. You spent good time there. I'm not sure the exact wording of it. Your thoughts on the Calgary... Here it is. What does Brian think of the Flames finally getting the financing for an arena to replace the Saddle Dome? That was right in your wheelhouse there. How do you feel about where this has gone and where it's going?
Well, I don't think they've allocated enough money. That's my first reaction to it, is that it's going to cost more than the initial allocation, but I think the city is prepared to fund their part as due. But any talk of that arena, the credit should go to the late, great Ken King. The fact that there's a new building in Calgary has moved on, that's Ken King, and they're going to have some naming rights deal for it, but I hope they name some portion of the arena after Ken, because he was the driving force that got this building done, and it's underway. They're going through the permitting and all the different processes you have to do before you actually start building, but it's long overdue. That the Saddle Dome was a great building, but it's an archaic building now.
Yes. Ken King, great man. Berkey, we've kept you past your time. I appreciate this. We will see you on Tuesday, March 23rd. Anything else you want to add before we let you go?
Yeah, I asked Kevin Bieksa what he gave me for Christmas, since he made fun of the gift I gave him.
Will do. Gotcha. All right.
He didn't give me a bloody thing, that's what.
Thanks. Spoil the surprise. Thank you, Berkey. Have a great day.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Always good seeing him. Brian Burke of the Pittsburgh Penguins.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.